All right, welcome to the Dungeon Pub, ladies and gentlemen. This is Happy Hour. This is the show meant for people who don't know anything about D&D or board games, or maybe you've heard about it, but you don't know where to start. So, today we're going to be tackling a very basic topic. This is going to be aimed at those people who truly, really don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons or any board games for that matter. And this is going to be for those of you who maybe you're a gamer, maybe you're not, maybe you enjoy completely different things. This is going to be based off of my belief that every person can and actually should at one point in their life try to play Dungeons and Dragons with his friends, with their colleagues, and where to start, right? Why would you even want to do that? Why would you even want to sit down with a bunch of people, have this dungeon master guy tell you what's going on? Why would you be doing that? How does it all play into your everyday life? We're going to be discussing a few things today, but primarily the topic of this show in general, and today's video is going to be about those people who do not know how to get into it, what are you gonna need, why would you be doing this, and so on and so forth. So let's begin, and we're gonna begin with my personal little story. I'm a geek, right? I'm a nerd, I'm a gamer. This is just one of the hobbies that I have, but it's been predominant throughout my life so far. I really enjoy in pretty much every aspect of it. There isn't anything about playing games that I don't enjoy. I've played pretty much everything that's out there. I've dabbled into every type of game: RPGs, actions, MMOs, sports simulators, like everything. I've managed to find this little tidbit that I like about it. And you know, I have other hobbies as well, but this is the reason why I got into board games, because way back when I was 15. And I'm 25 right now. It was 10 years ago. I met a bunch of people in school, right? And one of them was a D&D buff, right? He was a guy who enjoyed the concept, enjoyed a lot about it. I heard about it at that time. I had heard about board games, but I just never found anybody to ever play with, right? And that's just how it goes usually with everything. You know, people around you kind of influence you. You know, they give you opportunities to explore. So if you have a lot of friends that play MMOs, then at some point you're gonna sit down and try it, just because, you know, that's what people around you do. So for me, it was the same. Like, this guy came in, and third edition had just gotten out. You know, he got the book very quickly. Book was in Italian, and I was just picking that language up. So, you know, he said to pretty much everybody around him, "Would you like to play? Would you like to try it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, let's do that." Number one, because I also had other hobbies like drawing or, you know, reading a lot of manga, but also because I was intrigued by this concept of role-playing on this, you know, pen and paper format. And so we got together. He showed me how to make a character. I didn't understand shit at that time, but it was very fun because I started to imagine a lot of things. I was playing a lot of games at that time that kind of went into that whole thing. And the moment we started playing, the moment he sat down and started to DM, I was hooked. Like, I immediately started to find these nifty little things about the game that it just, number one, it took me a little bit by surprise, because I didn't expect it to be so powerful. But number two, the whole chemistry of the game, and how we're sitting there and we're like 4 or 5 guys or girls, and you know, this guy's talking and we're reacting to what's going on based off of our characters and avatars and abilities. It was just so cool. To me, it was so cool, not because of the fantasy aspect, but more about the social aspect. Like, you're sitting down with these people and you're having a bunch of laughs and you're cracking jokes and you're eating good food and, you know, drinking a little bit, and everybody's having this amazing time. And this is a great experience to have. You know, sit down on a table with a bunch of people. Maybe you like all of them. Maybe there's this one guy who you don't like, but that's okay, because, you know, this is a social game and, you know, you're having this interaction. So for me, that's how it began. Problem was that sometime later, it wasn't all that much time, I had to leave that school. You know, we were coming back to my country of origin, and I had to leave all that behind. And when I came back, I just couldn't find anybody to play with, right? Like, I shifted onto other things, started playing World of Warcraft more seriously, and that just kind of went by the side of things. So fast forward 10 years, and now I'm working at this office, literally. And, you know, one of the people that I started to work with, yeah, Kyle, that's you, comes in and says, You know what? I've been watching a lot of pucks lately. You know, the gaming convention. And there's this segment there about this group called Acquisitions Incorporated. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, there's these guys that play D&D. And, you know, because I have some experience about it, I say, oh, cool, man, D&D's all right. You know, my passion for it had dissipated a long time ago. But I'm like, yeah, D&D's very cool. D&D's very fun. And he turns to me and says, would you like to try it out? I mean, there's 5th edition coming out soon, so maybe we should give it a go. And at the time, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. I was like, okay, you know, fine, let's give it a go. Would you like to DM? He's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, there has to be this guy who creates all the adventures. He's like, oh no, man, you know, I can't do that. I just had this idea, and I told him like, I tried it once. It was very fun. I created a lot of things. Maybe you should give it a go just to see if you're gonna be okay with it. Maybe you're gonna, you know, grow to love it. And if you don't, then, you know, that's fine. I'm gonna pick it up. We're gonna start off there. That was the beginning of a very, very long journey that ends up with us, you know, having this channel now and wanting to share so much of it with people. It was a very long thing, right? We experimented with a lot of things. A lot of people came and only played once. A lot of people who came and then even today, like, we're gonna have this dungeon run. So, you know, it's been up and down throughout our relationship. We've been we did a lot of different things, and that reflected onto D&D. And this is where I want to start it off, right? I mean, if you've never done this before, if you only know it by the cover, and you know, okay, so this is, you know, what, you know, nerdy guys and nerdy girls like to do. It's all about pretending and doing stuff like that. Then, you know, time out, right? Because you can do that for every single thing in the world. Like, if you look at sports and you go, okay, so it's a bunch of guys wearing, you know, different uniforms, playing to some rules, trying to score, right? Maybe that speaks to you, maybe not, but there's more to sports than that, right? And it's the same with movies, it's the same with pretty much every medium of entertainment or information that's out there. So what is it about D&D that makes people so, so, let's say, giddy and you know, inspired? Well, it's the fact that D&D has no boundaries, right? It's not like a video game where, you know, you have to kind of just forward into the game and, you know, play by the game's rules, and ultimately something ends up happening and there's a system, or, you know, you're wielding this gun in first person, you're shooting down people. No, it's completely different. D&D is a theater of the mind thing, where it's your imagination that's gonna drive things forward. And it is my personal, very humble opinion that no person out there that is at the age of 12 to 92 or even more cannot really immerse himself into that. As a matter of fact, the more experience that you have, the easier it would be for you to come in and just try it out. Why do I say that? Because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't have any boundaries in terms of let's say a platform, right? It's not a first-person shooter. It's not a third-person action game. It's not a strategy game. People, you know, give it the label of an RPG, but that's because of the system, right? You need a system in order to quantify things. But, you know, going out of that, it's a lot more than just an RPG. It's everything, really. There is no game in the world that you cannot convert into a Dungeons and Dragons term. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the games out there that maybe you've enjoyed already are based on the D&D system. D&D is an old thing as well. Like, I'm gonna butcher the date right now, but I believe it was in the 70s, like 79, where the first edition came out. Don't judge me, you know, not really important for me. But ever since then, you know, people have found this beauty in the game, this synchronicity between the people playing the game, and it just has so many aspects to it that there's something for everybody that, you know, everyone can enjoy. And, you know, having said that, maybe you don't know anything about it, maybe you've seen it from the distance, or maybe somebody's told you something about it. If you ever have the idea to try it out, then here's everything that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a friend, maybe just one, maybe even more. If there's a group at your work, or at your in college, or you know, even just a side friend that you know from some place that you know is playing D&D, and call him up, you know, and say, hey man, you know, can you tell me more about this? You know, can you give me kind of like a presentation or a little expose? You don't even have to sit on the table and try. You don't have to see people do it. Just have that person sit down And I'll tell you why. Because when he sits down and he comes to you and says, well, here's what we do, this is how it works, this is what you need to do, just listen to his voice, and you're gonna see that it's not like he's talking about a movie or a sports or a book that he's read. It's something ongoing. It's something that has happened previously, but it's not the same today, right? And that's because D&D is an adventure. It is not about the beginning and the end. It's not about a structured exposition of information like a book or a movie. It's about interaction with people, and irrelevant of how good you are at interacting with people, D&D is a place where you can go make a character, and you can have that character be your face, right? It's the old MMO conundrum where you make this avatar and you're talking with people through the chat, and your monitor is this shield in front of your face. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows how you look like. It takes all the good things out of that, and it takes all the bad things out of it, because in an MMO you are impursuable, right? You are immune to the backlash. But in Dungeons and Dragons, you're sitting on the table with a bunch of people, and the common goal is to just have a lot of fun. So why would you be drawn to that? Well, I believe that irrelevant of whether you're a manager at a big company, you're like a CTO, or you're a general manager or a director. Maybe you work at a car wash. Maybe you're a lawyer. There is no profession out there, no, let's say, road in the world that you can take that cannot be further, explored or enriched by the D&D experience. As a matter of fact, I have read about a lot of people who hold very high corporate positions that actually devote a lot of their time to Dungeons and Dragons. Like they have this schedule every Thursday, every Saturday. They get together with a bunch of their friends, maybe from work, maybe from outside, and they completely devote themselves to D&D because Dungeons and Dragons has this amazingly powerful quality of being able to take you out of your everyday life, out of your everyday problems and mind-boggling, interactions with the world, and just give you different ones. But these ones are fantasy. They are heroic. They are adventurous, and maybe you don't have enough of that, or maybe you do, but maybe you need something different. Again, irrelevant of your profession, irrelevant of your chosen path in life, D&D can be this thing for you. There are other things in the world that can give you that. Again, books, movies, video games, other hobbies. That's what they're for. That's what they're meant for. But Dungeons and Dragons is an all-encompassing platform that can deliver all of those without all the, let's say the preparation or the hassle of it. You sit down with a bunch of friends, have a character, and just listen to your DM and see where it gets you. So again, what are you gonna need? Well, number one, you're gonna need a link to Dungeons and Dragons. Somebody, a person, a friend of yours who can take you into that world. He can be your guide. Because it's very difficult for anything in the world really for you to get into without having this this social link. But further than that, you're gonna need inspiration, and this is another very good quality of Dungeons and Dragons. It is very, very good at drawing inspiration out of you, because of the fact that it doesn't have a platform, it doesn't have boundaries, it doesn't have rules. In order to get into, then that means that everything that you're good at, everything that you perceive as a quality in yourself, can be incorporated into D&D. And all you're gonna need to do in order to have that taken out of you and put into the D&D game is to have inspiration. You need to have this desire to use these qualities. Whatever it is that you perceive as a hobby or a talent that you might have, then Dungeons and Dragons is a place where you can just show it to people through the character that you're going to make and into the adventure that the Dungeon Master has prepared for you. To summarize a little bit, Dungeons and Dragons is liberating. That's the thing. Because it doesn't bog you down in so many rules, because it's not about stress, it's not about preparation, it's not about perfect timing. It's more about who you are and who would you want to be, and the role-playing aspect of it is primarily turned at you, right? Who are you? Who do you want to be? And how are you going to present that person that you want to be to other people on the table? That is liberating beyond belief. And again, we live in a very, sped up world where Everything is very quick. Everything is very stressful. There's a lot of situations that you do not enjoy. So Dungeons and Dragons for me has been, it's been this for a lot of other people, and it can be for you a way to mitigate that in the world, a way to just shut off your brain for the negative things around you in the world, shut off your mind from all the white noise and all the pressure that this modern world puts onto people. Sit on a table with a bunch of people without your phone, without your laptop, without your hands-free device. Grab a pencil, write a few things down on a character sheet, and then just interact. I've seen it happen with people before. People who have a very stressful everyday life. They have a lot of duties, a lot of responsibility, and they crave Dungeons and Dragons because at the end of the day, after they've done all those things that end up in their financial situation or their family situation, they can just relax and be someone else. And this doesn't have to be Freudian. It doesn't have to be dangerous. It's not like a drug, but more like it is an experience that, while addictive, is addictive for a good reason. It's based on your fantasy, on your inspiration. It's based off your ability to create right now on the spot. Even as a character, we're not talking about DMing at all, and it's based off of your imagination. Imagination is a very beautiful thing, especially when shared with other people. And it is my belief that the current situation in most of our everyday lives is prohibiting imagination. Maybe you have a job, maybe you have a career that demands imagination from you. Maybe you're an actor. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. And Dungeons and Dragons is that place that can allow you to explore this part of yourself without the necessity for you to be a professional actor or a voice actor or a painter or whatever it is that you perceive as a work that demands imagination. So that is the gist of it. All you're gonna need is some basic tools, a friend to kind of get you into things, and just to let loose your imagination, let loose your desire to show other people who you are and what you would like to be. And then sooner than later, you're gonna be finding yourself thinking about it and imagining what could have been, and maybe you want to be something more, and you'd be calling those guys saying, hey, when's the next session? Let's break another quick stereotype, because a lot of people say, hey, this is meant for people who have a gaming background, people who have spent a lot of time devoting themselves to that kind of stuff. I say to you, my friend, no. As a matter of fact, Dungeons and Dragons, as long as you have, that one person who understands the system, as long as you have a solid dungeon master, you can take people out of every walk of life, like take a priest, take a corporate manager, take a forest ranger, and I don't know, what would be the fourth guy? Let's say a cop, take a detective, and put them on the table, explain the rules, let them create their own characters, and you're gonna see that it works. It really, really works. It is so all-encompassing. It's so all-inclusive that you don't need actual understanding of gaming systems. You don't need fantasy books in your life. You don't need any sort of a background. You're gonna relate to things that happen in the game because they are happening in your own mind instead of on a piece of paper or on the monitor. And that is very powerful. That is, I believe, the most powerful aspect of Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm gonna be very honest, I haven't done a lot of experimentation with this. I've read a lot about people who share this opinion. I've also read a few articles of people who do not share it. But I believe that it is an experiment that should be undertaken. There's nothing stopping you, except maybe for the fact that you don't know anybody who's doing it right now. So just as a quick tidbit, but there are forums out there. There are forums in the net. There are people that you can ask who can point you to the nearest Dungeons and Dragons party, right? And people who play Dungeons and Dragons mostly are inclusive people because they have already went through the process of showing to other people who they are inside, what they believe, and what they would do in a given situation. So everybody who's ever been through that is going to be very inclusive. He's going to be very open to other people doing the same thing. There is a theory out there, and I've come to realize it myself, that because people are mostly afraid to show who they are, or they have to be a given type of person, or they need to possess certain qualities in order to succeed, that creates this division between people. This is the modern the modern situation that we live in, and D&D is a great way to go past that, because D&D kind of lulls you into the experience by saying, hey, you're a character, you're playing a role, and you're king. Okay, you're saying, all right, let's play a role, let's see what role I'm gonna be. But then very quickly you understand that this role is part of you. This is not something that you create on the spot. Yeah, you do a little bit, but most of it you discover inside of you, and that is a powerful thing, and it lets people show their inner imagination, their inner creativity, and with the act of doing that, they allow other people to do the same automatically right there on that table. So that is one aspect of it. Again, those are the main reasons that I would put in front of somebody if they ask me, hey man, why should I play D&D with you? There are other reasons as well. Those are more personal. They're more specific to people. Maybe, again, I mean, this is just going off the top of my mind, but maybe you're a writer, right? And you write a specific kind of book, and suddenly in comes this guy who says, hey man, I'm going off to play D&D, see you tomorrow. Ask him what is this all about, and when he tells you, think about your writing experience, and you say, whoa, okay, hold on, maybe I can do something about that. Maybe I can sit down, write a few things, participate by making a character, making a backstory for my character with the writing skills that I possess. And that's just another way of using your skills for something different. It's not just about creating stuff and then selling it for money, or having it in your portfolio. This is just the freedom of using your skills and your abilities and your talents into something more common and shared and connected with other people. And that goes for everything, painting, management, every skill that you have come to possess, every skill that you have come to forget in your life could come into play. Hey, maybe you used to play the guitar when you were like 15, but kind of like myself, you're 25 now, you gotta work, you gotta pay the rent, you gotta pay the bills, and you just no longer play. That's okay. Get that guitar, come play D&D with us, make a bard, and every time you cast your spells, then play a little bit on that guitar, and sooner or later you're gonna come to realize that, hey, I used to enjoy doing this. This is cool, and maybe still I can't do it anymore, I just don't have the time, but here in D&D I can do that. So that is the power that D&D possesses. It's very liberating in the sense that there's nothing that a person possesses in terms of talents or abilities or desires that cannot be incorporated into the game. And just think about it. Which other platform in the world allows you to do that? Like writing, yeah, writing is very powerful. Painting, again, very powerful. Drawing, just anything that you might do with your hands. But Dungeons and Dragons, because it depends on social interaction, because it occurs into people's minds instead of in any other medium, that is the reason why it can be so all-encompassing and all consuming. And it is, I believe, one of the only true things in the world that can allow you to express who you are without the necessity to possess any of those skills. Like, there are people out there kind of like myself who do not possess that much of an artistic talent. I can draw a little bit, right? But it's not good enough for me to devote so much time into it. Maybe if I work hard enough at it, I can be good, right? But I'm not one of those people who have it in them. They have this natural talent for it. They have this aptitude. And, even though I'm a firm believer in the fact that everything that you achieve is, 90% hard work, and, the rest of it is just your talent and your devotion. There are certain skills that I simply do not possess. I'm not a musical guy. I'm not very good at dancing. I'm not very good at painting, right? But I can tell a few stories, right? So this opens up this entire experience for me, and I can still express who I am without the necessity for me to have those skills. So, think about that. Think about what skills you possess, what talents you have, what talents you had as a kid or as a young teenager that you simply couldn't pursue or did not want to pursue. And those are things that D&D can open up for you in a different light, right? There's another subject to that, and that's the whole social thing that I'm gonna take a few moments to discuss as well. But there's this thought that I have that everything in the world is done with the help of other people, right? If you want to be successful into something, you're gonna need the right people for it. If you need if you wanna build a business, then you're gonna need people. If you want to be a good painter, then you need to reach out to people and get into those social circles. So Dungeons and Dragons, because there is no one singular circle. There's the D&D crowd, right? And the D&D crowd consists of lawyers and painters and car repairmen and just everything that you might ever imagine. It will get you into contact with a lot of people that you wouldn't know otherwise, and that is very, very powerful. That is very cool, because throughout our lives, especially for those of us who have a career or have a solid job or just going to college and figuring out what you want to do, you are by design or by choice, that's irrelevant, you are conformed into one group of people, right? And again, some people are good at escaping that. Other people are just not that social, not that outgoing. Some people are more introverted or don't have the necessary skills in order to do that. So D&D can be that thing for you. D&D is a place where you can meet a dentist and a car repairsman and a pro athlete sitting on one table discussing how they're going to tackle this giant orc. So again, having the ability to just move out of your everyday life, move out of your everyday reality, and being presented with a new one where you can, do so many different things, do so many things that you wouldn't normally do. It gets you thinking about things that you wouldn't do normally. It gets you talking to people that you normally wouldn't talk with, and that is just enriching in every aspect of your life. So we're nearing the 30-minute mark. This has been the Dungeon Pub. I am your humble bartender, and this is Happy Hour. This is all about you guys who don't know a lot about it, who maybe want to try it out. Refer to our other videos about how to make a character. Maybe you want to DM. We're going to be discussing a lot of beginner topics, including stuff like what we just spoke about. And I'm very, very eager to see your response to this. Send us your mail, send us your tweets. Maybe you have ideas, maybe you had situations where this happened before, but you just didn't take it. Hey, send us your critique. We're always open to discussion. And, my suggestion is go out there, find someone, and have a little bit of fun with D&D. See where it leads you.